You may think you've heard the story of Blockbuster's fall, that it turned down a $50 million deal to buy Netflix and doomed itself. Oh no. But that's not what happened. Blockbuster's CEO actually had a plan to beat Netflix, and for a while, it was working, until its single most profitable feature broke the system. So how did one of America's most iconic brands go from $6 billion in revenue and 9,000 locations to bankruptcy and a single store? Today, I'm using Blockbuster's ads as a timeline to see how the company grew and where it started to come apart.
I've never seen 10,000 tapes in one store.
And I can keep them for 3 evenings.
That 1988 ad says it all. Blockbuster sold abundance, massive stores, endless titles, a full wall just for kids, seemingly covering all bases. It felt like smart business. But Blockbuster's real business didn't happen with those 3 rental nights. It started right after them, with late fees. Originally, late fees were meant to be a deterrent. Bring the movie back on time so another person can rent it, or else pay a $1 late fee. Late fees were a regular part of every video store. What made Blockbuster different was scale. In 1995, its closest major rival, Hollywood Video, had roughly 300 stores. Blockbuster had 3,100 in the US. At that size, late fees stopped being incidental and became predictable. By 2000, 1 out of every 6 Blockbuster dollars came from late fees, about $800 million a year, roughly 16% of total revenue. Not bad for a policy customers openly hated. A fact even CEO John Antioco admitted, calling late fees the #1 customer complaint. Late fees pissed off a lot of people, and like Dr. Frankenstein creating the monster, one of those people would end up becoming Blockbuster's biggest rival. The story is debated by its co-founders, but according to Yahoo creators, Netflix co-creator Reed Hastings said the idea for Netflix came from a single late fee. He rented Apollo 13, forgot to return it on time, and was fined $40. Filled with embarrassment, it inspired him to brainstorm his own movie rental business, and shortly after, Netflix was born. By 2003, the backlash had moved from beyond customer complaints and into courts. Blockbuster was defending multiple class action lawsuits over late fees. The core argument was strikingly simple. Plaintiffs argued the fees functioned as unlawful penalties rather than reasonable charges for late returns. In some cases, customers were forced to pay the full retail price of a tape they never ever intended to buy. This turned a late return into what felt like a forced sale. Make him an offer he can't refuse type of vibe. Blockbuster ultimately agreed to a class action settlement valued at up to $459 million, mostly in refund coupons. Even though late fees were still making Blockbuster lots and lots and lots and lots of money, it was at the expense of customer satisfaction. And Blockbuster was going to have to choose which one was more important to it. That trade-off, protecting short-term revenue versus fixing what's broken, is where big brands go to die. Lego hit that exact same wall in 2000 and survived only by aggressively cutting their product line. We actually spent time codifying the exact comeback framework Lego and 6 other giants used to turn it around. We put it into a super simple 1-page PDF called the Business Comeback Playbook. It's designed for you to audit your own business or a side hustle, whatever you got there, and see exactly where you are bleeding cash. You can get the step-by-step breakdown for free at the link below or by just scanning the QR code on your screen right now. It takes about 5 minutes to read, but could save you months of wasted effort. Now, back to the wreck. Let's see which path Blockbuster chose.
Someday, you'll remember where you were when you heard that there are no more late fees at Blockbuster.
In 2005, CEO John Antioco chose customer satisfaction, announcing what he called the biggest customer benefit in the company's history. No more late fees, no more late fees, no more late fees. Internally, everyone knew what this would cost. Antioco warned the move would wipe out up to $300 million in profit that year alone, plus another $50 million just to advertise the change. At first, it worked. Customers loved it, foot traffic ticked up, but the revenue told a different story. By the mid-2000s, most of the $800 million late fee business had vanished. And that wasn't the only problem. The courts came back for round 2. Multiple state attorney generals sued Blockbuster over its no late fees campaign, arguing that the ad's implied penalties were eliminated entirely, while key conditions were buried. You could get all your money back, including the full price, if you return the movie within 30 days. But you still had to pay a restocking fee. So if you were late, you were still paying some sort of fee. Blockbuster settled with 47 states, agreeing to clearer disclosures, better signage, and roughly $630,000 in reimbursements. But while battling regulators and bleeding profits, Blockbuster made an even bigger bet.
I'm gonna pick up a movie from Blockbuster.
Okay, drive safely. Now Blockbuster is as close as your mailbox. Introducing Blockbuster Online. Choose your movies online, receive and return them by mail.
To understand why Blockbuster went online, we have to mess with the timeline just a little, because two battles were happening at the same time. One in the market and one in the boardroom. Let's rewind to the year 2000. Consumers were riding two rising trends. Between 2000 and 2003, the number of American adults with home broadband exploded from 5 million to 30 million. DVD players followed. 300,000 units sold in 1997 to more than 20 million by 2003. Founded in 1997, Netflix was riding that wave to great success with a new kind of rental business. One that didn't need stores, just discs in the mail. Blockbuster invested about $25 million to launch Blockbuster Online and directly compete with Netflix's mail-order DVDs. At first, it was just another defensive move from a company hoping not to get knocked out. But by 2006, Blockbuster had an advantage that Netflix didn't.
Blockbuster Total Access, Netflix. Essentially, they work the same way. You order movies online. They come right to your mailbox. You watch them. Then mail them back in a prepaid envelope. But what if you're thinking,
let's get a new movie right away?
With Netflix, you mail them back and wait. But only Blockbuster gives you the option of bringing them back to the store and exchanging them. No extra charge.
Here's your new movie, sir.
Blockbuster's new Total Access update meant no waiting and no postage. Netflix couldn't match that. Blockbuster Online was gaining ground on Netflix. After a disappointing Q1 2007, Netflix had to admit that Blockbuster was outgrowing them. While Blockbuster had over 2 million subscribers at the end of 2006 and projected 3 million in 2007, Netflix missed its target by 150,000, but ended the quarter at just 6.8 million. For a moment, Blockbuster looked like it might actually win. And then, like a scene from a love story where the hero shows up one last time, Reed Hastings made another offer. According to a Bloomberg documentary, Hastings and Antioco met privately at the 2007 Sundance Film Festival, where Hastings offered to buy Blockbuster Online. Antioco wanted a full merger instead. The documentary says antitrust concerns ended the talks. While Total Access was absolutely hurting Netflix, behind the scenes, it was also turning into a money problem that Blockbuster just could not ignore. Free in-store exchanges meant Blockbuster had to ship extra DVDs, staff stores for higher transaction volume, and stock more inventory locally. Each exchange triggered costs. Analysts estimated the program was losing roughly $2 per subscriber per month. As Total Access grew, those costs scaled faster than revenue, and Blockbuster admitted it couldn't assure the model would ever even be profitable. The feature that gave it an edge was the same one quietly draining the business. While all of this was happening, there was another fight playing out in parallel that started back in 2005.
Are you ready for what's next?
Blockbuster was running customer-centric ads promoting unlimited rentals for $14.99. Publicly, the company was selling the future. Privately, one of its biggest shareholders was playing a game of chess, trying to stop it. A year before Blockbuster launched its Total Access option, billionaire activist investor and Blockbuster's largest individual shareholder, Icahn, what a name, went public. He let the world know how he felt just a little bit. In an open letter, Icahn attacked the company for cutting late fees, investing aggressively in online, and overpaying executives while profits fell, according to the LA Times. 11 days later, CEO John Antioco fired back in an SEC filing. His argument? Icahn had no real plan, the online pivot was in fact working, and walking away now would essentially doom them. So who was right? Well, both, kinda. On the numbers, Icahn had a point. The pivot wasn't profitable in 2005. Late fees were gone, online spending was up, and earnings were way, way down. But Antioco wasn't claiming it was profitable. He was claiming it was necessary. The receipts he pointed to weren't profits. They were membership growth for the first time in nearly 2 years. Except the numbers didn't matter anymore. This had become a power struggle. Many shareholders sided with Icahn amid Blockbuster's underperformance and doubts about his strategy. On May 11th, 2005, Icahn won a seat on the board after it voted in favor of his slate, electing him and 2 allies onto Blockbuster's 7-member board. By 2007, the board cut Antioco's bonus during an executive session, a move Antioco argued violated his contract. Rather than accept the reduced payout, he walked. Former 7-Eleven CEO James Keyes took over and hit the brakes on Blockbuster's push to gain online subscribers at any price. In October 2007, Reuters reported that Keyes cut marketing spend for Total Access. To be clear here, Keyes didn't hate online. In an interview with Paid Content, he said the opportunity was finding a good balance between physical and electronic distribution. One of Keyes' first moves was acquiring a studio-backed download platform called MovieLink. It cost about $6 million and came with roughly 3,000 titles from 5 major studios. By this point, Netflix had already introduced its streaming service, marking the start of its shift away from DVDs. To compete, instead of building a Netflix-style subscription platform from scratch, Keyes used MovieLink to launch Blockbuster On Demand as an add-on. He called it the next logical step in our planned transformation of Blockbuster. MovieLink gave Blockbuster a low-cost, low-risk digital foothold. Instead of gaining subscribers at a loss, Keyes chose a cheaper, more controlled way to stay digital. The problem was that Blockbuster On Demand charged per rental, while Netflix charged one flat monthly fee. Unlike Blockbuster's unlimited in-store exchanges, Netflix had the advantage this time. There was no catching up. While Blockbuster was still focused on customers and competition, an unexpected threat was about to deliver a fatal shot.
Take a seat. Someone will be with you in 28 days.
You'd never wait that long. So why wait 28 days for new releases? Blockbuster has hot new titles 28 days before Netflix and Redbox. Rent them in-store, by mail, stream on demand, and on the go.
For decades, Blockbuster's business depended on special studio payment terms. For 90 days after a film's DVD release, Blockbuster could stock thousands of copies of it, rent them immediately, and only pay the studios months later. That meant Blockbuster was effectively using future rental revenue to finance its inventory. Cash stayed in the business longer, risk stayed with the studios. Now, if we look back at 2010, we know the company was carrying more than $900 million in total debt. But according to James Keyes, debt alone wasn't the fatal blow, or in this case, the rabid raccoon. The real damage came from a change most customers never even saw. As Blockbuster's financial health weakened, studios stopped extending the 90-day repayment window. They demanded payment upfront. Almost overnight, Blockbuster had to fund new releases with cash it didn't have. Roughly $300 million drained out as the company was forced to pay for inventory before earning a dollar back from it. The model that once let Blockbuster scale cheaply and dominate new releases suddenly wasn't there anymore. From that point, the collapse accelerated. Between 2009 and 2010, Blockbuster closed 567 US locations. In 2011, the company filed for bankruptcy.
When the world ends and the internet streams no more, we'll still be here.
Hey, Steve.
Today, only one Blockbuster remains, preserved more like a monument than a business, in Bend, Oregon. I haven't been able to find how much revenue it generates, but safe to say it's much less than 9,000 locations would. Yet, not everyone believed Blockbuster needed to roll its credits that soon. In 2011, Antioco argued Blockbuster Online was growing incredibly fast and had slowed down Netflix's momentum. If they'd stayed the course, he believed they'd still be rivaling Netflix. Both things can be true. Yes, there was Netflix, poor leadership, and a lag in streaming. But Blockbuster didn't fail because it didn't understand the future. It failed because surviving that future required breaking the very system that once made it profitable.